Crota'S End is a returning raid in Destiny 2 that is free for all players. This complete raid guide moves very fast, use pause and playback speed as you see fit. Get 6 players on your fire team and let's dive in. Here are some recurring mechanics throughout the raid. The Chalice of Light is a buff with an energy bar that slowly charges over time. Getting kills charges it faster. Once full, the carrier receives the 10-second engulfed in light timer. At 0, you'll die. Before that, a nearby player must claim the Chalice from you. After losing the Chalice, you'll get the drained of light timer, unable to get the Chalice again until it ends. In each encounter, set a carrier order so every player knows when it's their turn to take the Chalice. Enlightened is a buff that allows players to interact with encounter mechanics such as lamps, barriers, and more. To get Enlightened, fill your chalice and have another player claim it. They get the cup, you get the buff. Enlightened has no timer, but Enlightened players can't pick up a chalice. Performing Enlightened mechanics will remove the buff. Losing Enlightened also gives drained of light. Swords are relic weapons dropped by swordbearer knights. Players must be enlightened to pick one up. This consumes Enlightened, so a dropped sword can't be picked back up. The Hellmouth introduction teaches chalice basics. First carrier, grab the chalice and fully charge it. Pass it to the next player to become enlightened. Dunk enlightenment in the hive plate to build the bridge. Stand on the plate until the bridge is complete, cross it and jump into the Hellmouth. The Abyss is the first encounter. To prepare, tune loadouts for ad clear and unstoppable champions with as many healing options as possible. Swords and lunge melees may come in handy for movement. Carrier 1, pick up the chalice to begin. All players will receive the Weight of Darkness debuff up to 10 stacks, which reduces speed, jump, and removes sprint at 10. And the 1-minute engulfed in darkness timer. Once the first carrier is enlightened, dunk it in the first lamp. This activates it, removing darkness stacks from nearby players and resetting the timer for everyone. Near the first lamp is a small podium. The second carrier must preserve the chalice in it to prep the next lamp. The third carrier picks it back up. Not all lamps have podiums. Maintain your carrier order to keep the chalice in rotation and players enlightened. Activate every lamp and podium you can until you reach the final plate. Repeatedly dunk enlightened in the plate, killing incoming adds and champs. This constructs a bridge behind you, cross it to clear the encounter. How to fail. When engulfed in darkness reaches 0, the fire team will wipe. Lamps explode shortly after activation. Once it glows red, get away. Deadly pendulums and holes fill your path. Learn their locations quickly and don't be hasty. Maintaining a clear chalice carrier order is key. Use this encounter to dial it in. The second encounter is the Oversoul Bridge. To prepare, review the map. Tune loadouts for crowd control, burst damage, and barrier champions. Carrier 1, pick up the chalice to begin. Stand on the central plate to build the bridge. Dunking 3 enlightened into the plate will complete it quickly. Whenever a bridge plate is active, keep a player under each totem on that side of the room. Call out the swordbearer's location once it spawns. An enlightened player must take its sword across the bridge. A gatekeeper will appear on the far side. It can only be damaged by the sword, but can be debuffed with suppress, blind, freeze, and more. Kill the gatekeeper, then dunk the sword in one of 5 labeled spots. Repeat this until 3 players have reached the far side and dunked their swords. Transfer bridge building to the far side so the remaining players can cross. The last player can cross with just the chalice. Once all players are across, leave the plates. Swordbearers will now spawn here. Kill gatekeepers until 5 swords are dunked. Keep killing adds, champs, and ogres. Enlightened players may expunge their buff on wizards, freeing them up to claim the chalice and keep it in rotation. Last 5 gatekeepers spawn. Enlightened players reclaim the swords and kill them all. Dunk the chalice in the podium to clear the encounter. How to fail. Crossing the gap without either chalice or a sword relic will kill the player. Stepping off the center plate will cause the bridge to dissolve. Get back on the plate to fix it. If a totem is unmanned while its bridge plate is active, the fire team will wipe. If the chalice despawns while all players are on the far side, the encounter is soft locked and cannot be cleared. If all players are enlightened, nobody can take the chalice and the rotation will fail. Between encounters, become enlightened to pass through the green barrier. Kill the Shrieker to lower the barrier for everyone. Repeat this with the second barrier. Dunk the chalice in the podium at the end to proceed. The third encounter is Yut. To prepare, review the map. Agree on callouts for all 7 wizard rooms. Tune loadouts for high burst damage, high DPS, and high damage resistance. Enter the room to begin. Phase 1, split teams between left and right. Kill all blistered knights and nearby acolytes in the middle, then on the stairs, then inside. Kill both shriekers to drop the barriers. Phase 2, carrier 1, grab the chalice. Send scouts to identify which 3 rooms have shield singer wizards. Check your radar. Rooms without wizards will have shriekers. They show up as red dots with arrows indicating whether they are above or below you. Rooms without shriekers have wizards. Rotate the chalice to enlighten players so they can enter the wizard room. Damage wizards until they can be finished, then kill them all at the same time. Once any wizard dies, the Dark Liturgy timer begins. Once all wizards are dead, the barriers drop and the boss is vulnerable. Phase 3, meet in the middle. Either pass the chalice so enlightened players can expunge on the boss for extra damage, or dunk it in the podium below until the next phase. Damage the boss until she goes immune. Knights and thralls will attack throughout. Repeat phases 2 and 3, adding 1 wizard for each round. Kill Yut to clear the encounter. How to fail. Not killing enough adds and knights at the start delays the Shrieker's opening. Once you enter a wizard room, you'll lose enlightened. Those barriers won't drop until you kill whatever's inside. If the first wizard isn't killed soon enough, the liturgy timer will begin on its own. If the boss's flashing health isn't depleted before the liturgy reaches 0, the fire team will wipe. The boss moves quickly and close up. Be ready to adjust your aim. Crota is the final encounter. To prepare, tune loadouts for high damage resist and high DPS. Within your rotation, assign 1 to 2 gunners. Gather by the crystal to begin. Phase 1, exit through the sides and clear adds. Carrier 1, take the chalice from the middle. All players have the the Presence of Crota debuff preventing Chalice handoff. A small pool of light randomly spawns throughout the arena, stand in it to remove the presence and transfer. Gunners kill Boomer Knights atop the left and right towers. Killing 4 spawns a Sword Bearer and 2 Ogres. Kill them and claim the sword. Use the sword to attack Crota and damage his shield. A few seconds after hitting him, the sword will despawn. Repeat this until the shield is removed. Phase 2. After losing his shield, Crota is vulnerable to all damage. Crota kneels on the ground for several seconds, then gets up and resumes attacking. A 30-second Oversoul timer begins. An enlightened player must shoot the giant green Oversoul to remove the timer, ideally as close to 0 as possible. This removes enlightened. Damage Crota until the Oversoul is broken. Surplus enlightened players may expunge Crota for extra damage. Repeat both phases until final stand. Crota will go immune for several seconds. Afterward, continue to damage Crota. A short Oversoul timer will appear, break it close to 0. Next, you'll get a final timer that cannot be stopped. Kill Crota to clear the raid. How to fail. If any Oversoul timer reaches 0, the fire team will wipe. That's your quick guide to Crota'S End in Destiny 2. If these fast endgame guides are helpful, spread the word. I've got guides for every raid and dungeon in the game, all about 5 minutes or less. I'm also covering the exotic missions in Grandmaster Nightfalls and Season of the Witch. We'll see you next time. Get raiding, Guardians.